Yes. So that bill had always been 4,000 and something, and
It's,
still is.
yeah, it's the same.
Okay. That's it.
Ms. Duarte?
On page 26 of 31, the Solution Tree Incorporated, attend Building Common Assessment Workshop in San Diego. Is that the one where we sent many teachers? Yeah? So that's the company that put on that workshop, or are we?
Solution Tree is a nationally renowned organization for professional development, and they are the ones who, they have like the gurus of professional learning communities, Common Core, Common Assessments, and this is an opportunity for our teachers to attend a workshop, or that attended a workshop, I'm sorry, in San Diego for Common Assessments. But it is a Solution Tree provides different types of specialized services for professional development nationwide, and we are always fortunate when we can get into them when they're as local as San Diego.
And just to add, Madam President, that they did already attend this, and the trip itself was approved on March the 26th. This is just the bill, us paying for the registration or for the services provided for the training.
Correct. And what is the asterisk for? I don't see the asterisk on others.
That is a fantastic question. I don't know. It could be a typo.
Okay. Oh, there's one for, I'm not even gonna mention the word. Okay.
Does it start with a W?
I will.
Also, on the statewide seating, have we made any initiations to talk with the company, see if we own the bleachers by now?
No, we have not, but we can.
Can we get to
look
that?
into that.
Yeah.
Before
It's been
graduation?
10 years, I think we own them already. And they can probably bring us like 4 more sets.
Okay.
That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Duarte. Mr. Noviscata? Any questions in regards to?
Just one question on page 27 of 31, the Bank of New York, an administration fee for an account that runs from this current year to next year.
Page what?
What page?
27.
Page 27 of 31, Bank of New York.
That is a fee for our 2009 COPS.
Any further? Anything further?
No.
Okay. I do have a question on page 3 of 31 in regards to the roll gate replacement at the high school.
What is that?
There's a roll gate replacement at the Calexico High School parking lot due to damage.
Oh, from Bonnie Fence Company?
That was the gate that was run over by the stolen vehicle of a teacher.
That's also the gate that damaged my shoulders. But I digress.
Oh, okay.
I just, not so much questioning the expense, but has that gate been examined as to whether it needs to be replaced or redone? Because that's always been a problem, that, the way that gate runs. Monday.
Excuse me, that gate has been working fine.
Yeah?
The car that was towing inside the campus area.
Yeah, they ran over
busted
it.
the gate over with
Ah, so they're replacing the gate
Yes,
and the track.
the gate has been working.
that's right.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that's all my question.
Do these damages, well, I
We
know
said,
that...
well, and I'm sorry, ask your question. Let you ask your question.
Insurance?
That's exactly, I knew you were going to say that. So we submit our claims to our insurance company. A lot of times our deductible is a lot higher than what it costs to repair the fence. So it's just easier for the district to pay to have it repaired. But we do submit them to the insurance.
So in
company.
one month, and if I recall correctly, within 3 weeks, we had fence at the district office, the fence at the high school, and the fence at Rockwood.
And they are all 3 separate incidences, which would have their own
Deductible.
deductible.
A couple of them occurred in less than a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All within one family. Okay, if there's no further discussion on the pre-list, I'd like to call for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Duarte, is there a second? Second by Mr. Calderon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
No.
Motion passes 4-1. Okay, item G4C, correct? Yes. Participation of 2 teachers to attend the California Continuation Education Association State Conference in North Hollywood, California on April 26th through the 28th, 2013.
Trustee Duarte had a question on that.
Ms. Duarte?
I'd like to know who's going, when are they going, how are they going? There is no information, we just have a flyer, and we just have that 2 teachers will be going. And it's $15.50.
Mr. Moreno?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
For the record.
We're recording.
Thank you.
Honorable Board, we have, this Friday, we have a couple of teachers going. Kathy Ray, who teaches special ed and is the ASB advisor, along with Mr. Michael Davis, who is our OOP law enforcement class. It'll be Friday. They'll get there in the afternoon. They have workshops and seminars on Saturday. And then Sunday morning, they travel back to Calexico. They're taking a private vehicle. From what I understand, they are taking the Mrs. Ray's vehicle. Any other questions? We've gone every year to this conference. I went a couple of years back, and some of our teachers are members of this particular association, California Continuation Education Association. And it's a good conference to learn about new things for our continuation high school.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Are there any further questions from the board?
Yes.
Just to further, I'm sorry, just to further elaborate, it is the primary continuation high school conference in the state, and it is, having been there myself in previous years, it is focused on the needs of alternative education, so it is an excellent conference.
Ms. Duarte?
I just suppose that all these, the registration and all of it has been RSVP'd already, right?
Yes.
Okay. So next time, if we can do it a little bit sooner?
Well, I think we put in the paperwork, God, I want to say several weeks ago, before the holiday.
Okay.
As you recall, there was no meeting in April, had, the Easter break and such. So I'm not sure where the ball was dropped. But we go every year, and
But
that's...
the $15.50 will cover it, everything? All
Yeah,
expenses
I
and
believe-
substitutes and all that?
I believe so. I believe so.
They don't need a sub?
No, it's Friday after. They leave on Friday,
Okay.
just one day.
Oh,
It's Saturday,
because it
Sunday.
says subs on here.
It's probably for the Friday day that they leave.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
Thank you very much.
Seeing no further questions, is there a motion to approve item G4C?
A motion?
Motion by Duarte, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item 4E. E. Participation of 6 CHS 9th grade English 9 honor students to visit Washington DC and Williamsburg, Virginia on May 14th through the 18th, 2013. I requested information. Could I have Ms. Panilla come to the mic, please?
Hi.
Hi, can you give us a little bit more
came about?
Came about.
Basically, someone from World Strides contacted me and gave me some information about trips that were available and asked me if I was interested in chaperoning a trip or providing a trip. So I talked to Mr. Pesqueda about it and to Mr. Romero. And they said, to see if there was parent interest, if there were student interest, so we could have just an original general meeting to find out some information about the trip. So someone from World Strides came and gave the parents some information. And once we found out there was a lot of interest, then we moved forward with selecting dates. So I spoke with Mr. Pesqueda, and we picked dates that would be beneficial to the students after CSTs, but before finals, with enough time that they would have time to review and everything for finals, so it wouldn't interfere with their academics. So I opened it up to all of the honors classes.
How many are those?
There are 6 sections of honors students at our site.
For a total of how many students?
Approximately 200 around. I don't have the exact figure, but it's about that. All of our classes are about 34, so times 6, so it's around there. And so there was a lot of interest in the beginning, and several students signed up and paid the $99 fee, but then they got money off for the parents coming to that original informational meeting. And I apologize that this didn't come before the board prior. That's just my ignorance. I had no idea that it would, now it makes sense that it should have come before the board, but once I started seeing those emails we started getting, how things needed to be brought to the board a month prior, and it had to be, sent in and all of that, then I realized, wait a minute, maybe this falls under that. So I right away asked my site administrators, and they were like, oh yes, definitely, you need to fill out a packet on that. So the very next day, I got the packet, filled everything out to request that it be put on the board agenda. Obviously, had I known, I would have done that step first, and then move forward with the rest of the steps to have the trip available to the kids. So that was my bad, I guess. I just didn't know that it had to come before the board. But once I found out, I just took the steps to get it brought to.
And my concern is that, out of 200 students, only 6 will be attending?
Well, many more originally signed up, and I guess the financial aspect, and understand there was, parents did fundraising on their own. We're not a club at the school, so we didn't do any on-site fundraising, but parents did fundraising, plus there was gift of education provided through the company, and scholarships available through the company, and payment plans for the parents. Very similar to what Kiki does. They also have a trip to Washington, D.C. It's my first year doing it, so obviously I was new to everything. And like I said, a lot more parents were interested from the get-go, but I think that as the payments were becoming due and some weren't able to participate perhaps in the fundraising or do their own fundraising, that some backed out. Originally, there were more people signed up, and then it kind of dwindled down. And that could be, too, from my lack of experience of being a group leader with World Strides.
So when these students go to this visit, will they be taking homework packages and stuff like that? And will you be like the teacher of record or along those lines?
Yes, if needed. The kids will get their homework from their teachers, and they'll be able to do homework while they're obviously on the flight. It's long, and they'll, just like with any other field trip, the kids are going to be responsible for their work. And I will have work there for my students. Luckily, it's toward the end of the year, and we'll be done reading Romeo and Juliet, so they'll be working on an activity with Romeo and Juliet with a substitute for my students while I'm gone. And the other students will be getting homework from all of their teachers prior to attending and making arrangements with their teachers.
Okay.
But yes, they're not being asked to just neglect their classwork, of course not.
No, I didn't suppose, but I just wanted to make that
Yes.
public
Oh
knowledge.
yes, no, they'll be
Okay.
responsible for their homework.
Yeah. Ms. Ambriz, if I don't know, for me personally, if we can make a make it a point to get that information out to all teachers. So like, Ms. Panelas shared, she was not aware of the process. I think we need to do a better job of getting things here in a timely manner. But if they don't know that they need to get it here before us, then that's our fault too.
I will remind our site principals.
I was going to say, I think that now most people are aware now that those emails have been going out, and that's what notified me. So
Yeah.
I think that people are aware now. It just came late for me.
Yep.
Alright.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Panelas.
I have a question.
Mr. Kim?
Yeah, as you said, this registration fee, $852, lodging and the meal, that's for the per person or for the whole?
The registration fee was $99, and it actually ended up being $79 if they registered early. The rest of the fee, it's for the hotel, the transportation, the flight, the tours, the tickets, the food, everything. We also, in the hotel, there is a security guard stationed right in our hallway so that chaperones can sleep, because otherwise, I mean, being a parent myself, there's no way I'd be able to sleep. I'd be standing outside watching the doors. So there's actually a security guard who will also be in our hallway monitoring the hotel room, and we have a tour guide with us, and that the fee is covering all of that per student.
Yes, but what I'm asking is fees is $99, but the early registration is $79
Okay, that was the registration per student,
per student.
and then the total fee was per student.
How much is?
It's on there, I believe it's $2,081.
See, the reason we don't have that backup
We don't have the background.
information.
We
don't have
I
anything.
turned when I turned in the information, it had like a copy that had the original sheet, giving you guys the price, the exact
Oh, that wasn't
price.
forwarded to the district, apparently.
Okay. I have one copy here, I believe. Let me just make sure it has the actual full price on here before I give it to you.
The second issue is this a school sanctioned activity?
Yeah, is this part of your curriculum?
There are several items that we will visit that are part of or tie into the standards in 9th grade English as far as things that we study. I don't know if you have that in front of you, but I can share some things with you. The academic focus while we're there is history, government, leadership. It's tied to concepts and novels that are read in English literature. For example, in LRA 3.12, we analyze literature related to themes and issues of historical periods, and so that's definitely something that we'll cover there. Reading 2.8 is evaluating the author's argument in political speeches, and then listening and speaking, we analyze historically significant speeches. While we're there, we will visit the Lincoln Memorial. We will also say the Martin Luther King Jr. speech right where he stood when he gave the I Have a Dream speech. And we just finished reading Seventh Son and Red Prophet, which are historical, they're historical fiction, but they're based on early America, and we're currently reading Night. We'll be done with it prior to when we go, and that is a memoir of a Holocaust survivor. And one of the places we visit will be the Holocaust Museum, and it's actually an anniversary year for them, and we were able to procure tickets for that as well, so we're really lucky to get that.
Yeah, and going back, and it's a great trip, and I'm the students that are attending are going to have a wonderful experience. My only concern was that only so little.
Few. No, I agree completely.
So towards that, and we don't want to rain on anybody's parade, but I would ask that that maybe if you can record it, or so that experience can be shared virtually with the rest of the class or the rest of the students, that weren't able to make that trip, so that, because it is going to enrich those particular students' experience. But let's try to bring some of that back.
Too. Yes, no, definitely.
Okay.
That's a
Okay.
good suggestion, thank you.
Okay, I
Mr.
still
Kim?
have still my question staying. According here, the physical impacts, the registration fee and all this were going to be was Carl Perkins grant and the agriculture incentive grant.
That's not
the wrong
me.
trip, Mr. Kim, because we don't have any backup on it.
G4E.
Oh, I'm sorry. I opened the wrong ones. G4.
E.
Yeah. None of us have the backup, Mr. Kim.
I was figuring where he was getting the numbers from.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
thought
what
when
I'm
he
saying.
said the 99 is because the original fee was 99, so I thought he had the
Well,
paper
you
and
said
then the rest of you did.
You said $99. I do have it
Okay,
written
okay.
down.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
When this field trip happens, are they done with all CST testing?
Yes.
And AP testing and every other testing that we have to do?
Freshmen don't take AP tests, but we will be done with the CST testing, yes, definitely. That was one of our parameters for setting the dates.
Okay.
Yes, we definitely took that into consideration.
All right.
Did you have any further questions, Mr. Kim?
So this one, I said, like, everybody pays their own expenses.
Yes, the parents have paid for everything. The only expense to the district would be my substitute. That would be it.
Okay. So how much it costs for each parents? Each students?
$2,081.
Total, wow.
That's a flight, a hotel, and all those other things that I listed, but the parents paid for it. And many of them did fundraise, and they got gifts of education and some scholarships through the company as well.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Duarte?
Yes, I have a small concern as to the parents transporting their children, because we know that as long as it's a school trip, we are fully responsible for those students from the time they leave their home to the time they come back. And I do have a big concern on that. Have we requested a liability release on the trip to the airport?
No, we have not, and that is the reason why this is on this agenda. Again, I have no qualms with the trip itself. It's just, number one, the late notice, the fact that this trip was planned without the district knowing about it until right before spring break is when this came to my knowledge. And I'm fully supportive of any educational trip, but at this point, you need to understand as a board that if you approve this trip, you're assuming the liability of the trip in terms of transportation of individual people taking individual cars to the airport, et cetera. So that, unless we want to make arrangements for that as well.
And I know that there is a concern on that, and because if they take a van to the airport, there would be parking. I mean, it's six students, and I think we do have a van that's capable of taking everybody, but I don't know about the luggage. Because I know when I go to Washington DC, I take 2 luggages. and
They're trying
pay
to
for
pack
third.
as little as possible so that they can do it in the carry-on and not have to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
They won't do it on carry-on because they're gonna bring a lot more. They need a big.
Especially the girls,
They
I
need at
know.
least 1 luggage so
Yeah.
that they can bring a lot of stuff back. But, yeah, and I know, I mean, parents have paid for this trip, you know, and it would be heartbreaking if we were to turn this down. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a lesson learned.
Oh, definitely.
We don't wanna be,
Well, the trip can be taken. This is my perception. I'm not sure about the legality of it, but the trip can be taken because the trip has been paid for. Though,
Oh.
do you? My question is, are you assuming the liability of it being a school-sanctioned trip?
That was my next question.
Do you understand? I mean, they can take the trip because, and the parents can request, for example, short-term independent study for the kids, et cetera. But the moment that you approve it, then it becomes a school-sanctioned trip.
but Ms. Ambriz, with what you said, that is an open box for anybody at any given time to do that.
I understand, and people still do. I mean, people do that throughout the year when they take a vacation, when a parent can't take it at any
Well,
other
and-
time, et cetera.
and that's
And it's not
family.
something that we're encouraging, but the reality is this trip was planned without the knowledge of the district up until mid-March, maybe. And so, and I highly respect Mrs. Panella and her desire to do this. I just want to make sure that honestly, that the district is covered on this, because this is a big issue, you know. And so if you accept the trip as a school-sponsored trip, because then we need to make the provision for transporting the kids to the airport and back. That's my,
Because we can't assume liability for someone
Absolutely.
else's car.
So if I can ask for clarification on that, would that mean that I would just drive one of the school vans and transport the kids, and then we would park the van at the
At the parking
airport
lot.
parking, or?
that could
Is
not,
that
Not the
what you're
airport
suggesting?
parking, one or the other.
At Aladdin or
I've been,
something like that.
At the one
I've been caught
50
and paid
miles
about
away.
$140 for parking. Not for school district.
If my sister lives in San Diego and we left the van at her house, would that be the same issue, or that's not allowed? It
not
would have to be parked at the
It has to
airport?
be at the
Okay.
airport.
Just trying to save you money. Okay.
Yeah, because then you'd have to transport from your sister's house to the airport.
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
I'd just like to see us then sponsor the transportation on this, and just let this move forward, because you did already plan it, but, you know, in the future, that just maybe better communication amongst everyone, so everyone's aware. My concern would be the liability, so I would like to propose that at this point, sort of this late in the game, we sponsor the transportation
Versus
for
the
the kids
parents.
to go versus the parents going. I know that my son is one of the ones from Kiki going, and we did spend a lot of money already personally to have him go, but the school is going to transport them. So I know how heartbreaking it would be, not only for me as a parent, but for my son to not be able to go to the trip, because not only is it fun for them, but it is educational. Very much so. My daughter went a few years ago, and it was wonderful. So, again, lesson learned that we do this a little better, but I really, just for the district, I'd rather spend the money on transportation than incur the stress of whatever liability we might have to look at down the line.
Just a matter of planning next time. That's about it. More
Right.
planning.
Talk to the
In-
principal
in
prior to
consultation.
Right,
doing
no, I did.
That way we can be yelling at him.
No, let's be clear. I did. The first person I spoke to was my site administrator. I got approval from my site administrators. I did not do anything without permission first. So I'm just saying, the only thing I wasn't aware of is filling out this packet and putting it before the board until right before spring break. That's when I found out about it, and that's when I moved forward. But I did not do a single thing without an administrator being aware.
Okay, thank you. Right, no further questions, board members? Okay,
No.
I think we've discussed it enough. Is there a motion to
Madam President,
modify?
Are we going to amend this request?
That's where I was going.
There hasn't been a motion yet, right?
No, there hasn't been a motion. Is there?
I make a motion that we allow the students to go on this trip, but provide them with transportation
Yes.
to and from the airport.
Mhm.
Motion by Ms. Duarte, is there a second?
I will
As
second that.
amended?
I will second that.
Second by Mr. Calderon.
I have a little clarification on those.
Mr. Kim?
Do we gonna just let them use our van, or we gonna provide the fee for the transportation?
I think it was clarified that we'd provide the vans, right?
We could provide the van, and/or I think what's happened in the past,
Your mic's not working.
even in the past, if sometimes a local rental agency that would have like a 18,
Yeah.
passenger van.
We
or
have a 15
Or
passenger
15
van.
passenger
Yeah.
van that could accommodate the students, the teacher, and the luggage, or whatever. Whatever's the most cost-effective and most effective for the trip for the students is how we
Okay.
would handle that.
All right.
Okay.
As long as
It'll probably be about $650 plus the parking.
Okay.
But what I
As a
understand,
rental.
what I understand, if they rent it, we can have a one-way contract. So we rent the one-way, and then we have another contract to come back here.
Yeah.
So that way we can save the
really
last of the day
complicated
and what's called parking fees.
Well, we can research all of that and
Yeah.
just find out
Yes.
the best
The most
cost-effective way
cost-effective.
to
Mr. Martinez?
accommodate the students.
Mr. Martinez, can you come to the
Come to the podium.
podium?
And also,
Oh,
if
the
we
license.
provide the van ourselves, I like to provide the
license.
gasoline too from those districts.
Good evening, Raul Martinez. Just a very important note. if the decision's made to rent a van, you need to be very careful. We're talking about 16-passenger van. You need
That's
a
correct.
special license for that, passenger endorsed
correct.
license. So I just wanted to clarify that note.
Thank you.
Well, we would also need a SPAB in our van, right? If we take this, the district van? It's, well, no, because it's a less than 10-seater.
Another
It's not a
suggestion
10-seater.
would be if we can have one of our district employees drop them off at the airport and pick them up on Saturday the 18th. And
Yeah.
this way you save on having the van there.
That's true.
and
For
taking-
4 days.
and paying
Good
parking
point,
fees.
Mr. Pesqueda.
Mr. Pesqueda, you have been elected to take them.
That's awesome.
Yes.
It's Saturday would be my concern. What time are you coming back? We have a prom.
Our flight plan Saturday evening or
Evening.
So,
Mr. Pesqueda, you have been
Pinella, you can
volunteered.
play Mr.
but
Pinella can
that's why you have vice principals.
and they're part of the
Delegate.
part of security for the prom. But we do have a district employee.
It's prom week?
He would pick up his wife and on Saturday, and
There you go.
we can work that out.
Okay.
I'll talk to Mr. Johnson.
So we have a motion by Ms. Duarte and second by Mr. Calderon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item G, 4G, participation of 60 high school students to visit San Diego State University, University of California, San Diego, and La Jolla on May 20th, 2013. Who asked for this one?
I did.
Ms. Duarte, please.
I was, I was informed about this trip tonight in regards as to the non-availability of bus drivers. It's a weekday. Usually, buses that are requested from school sites are after 8 o'clock, transported after 8 o'clock, and either return before school is out or after school is out. We will have a shortage of bus drivers. It is a Monday. There's, as it is, as we are at the amount of bus drivers we need on a daily basis at this time. And there has been no arrangements for transportation up to now also. It's going to put a hardship on that day. And, I mean, and, oh, plus the bus, it has the bus mileage here, but it's not including the bus driver's pay, which adds about $200 more for a total of $850. But there is no request, and this was asked to see if they can transport back in April 12, I believe. There's still no movement on the transportation. So either,
Could we table this until we get more information? Or we can settle this?
well, I think the issue is going to be our students here locally are going to suffer. Either they're going to have to do double routes, and if we're talking about students that are special ed, we will be getting phone calls. So, I mean, that are supposed to be driven that day.
Where does it say that it's local buses being used? Or by the bus mileage? Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a school bus. It's not a charter bus. Usually these types of trips, they have charter buses. That if you know, in some of these,
I see, school bus, I see it.
yeah, agenda items, there is charter buses going.
That's correct.
And this is from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. So it's overtime. It incurs overtime, so the price may be higher than that. Higher than that. Depending on the bus driver.
How is this being funded?
This would have to be an ACES or assets expenditure. The assets program, the after-school program.
Okay.
I'll talk to Mrs. Lucas, the same as the coordinator, and see how we work on that.
So we'll table it until you rework something out?
When a certain
Because by the time you pay the overtime on the bus driver, it's going to be the price of a charter.
charter. Yes.
Yeah.
And they have restrooms.
Bob's Ride, they're SPAB certified. San Diego. I'll give you the number. Bob's right, they're spam certified. Okay, so then we'll
Are they still
take,
legal?
yeah, I got their insurance.
Oh,
Okay,
So I move to move this item to
so do we?
our next meeting.
Table to future meeting.
When is
Table
the
this
trip?
item to our next meeting,
When is the trip?
May
May
20th.
20th? Do
We have a
board
meeting before that?
before?
Yes. Well, but arrangements, then they have to make arrangements, and so,
so tape,
Can it be
mm,
tentatively approved if transportation can be arranged?
okay.
are you
I'll-
amenable to that, board members? If approved pending, transportation arrangements?
I would approve the trip, but not the transportation.
Yeah, just pending transportation being arranged
Pen-
outwardly.
Pending, well, you have to say something regarding transportation.
Yeah, because we have to take that into account.
So, how about motion to approve pending resolution of transportation related?
Okay, so I will retract my motion to table.
Yeah.
I'll retract my motion to table.
Okay, is there,
And- Then
I make a
what-
motion to approve pending on the transportation arrangement.
Do we know for a fact that we don't have transportation for that day? I mean, are we just, how do we know?
Yes.
Are we that tight?
we don't have enough bus drivers.
We don't have enough
Because
bus
we
drivers.
don't, I mean, do we have,
This
do we get a
is-
report on
th-
transportation,
this is-
on how that, this day
Well, this
particular
is
works?
60 students. So you're taking a bus driver away. And usually, we only have about 2 bus drivers that don't have dual routes, or they don't have noon routes or something like that. So if somebody is out and they have to cover the bus driver, and then we have another bus driver that is out on a trip, we have.
So
the-
if
the
on May
department-
20th, all of that happens, we'd be short. But, I mean,
We're always
I just want to know with more clarity that there is a transportation problem that we need to be mitigating. It sounds like we're mitigating a
There will
problem
be
that
a
we don't
hardship.
know for a
No.
fact exists.
There will be a hardship.
Can we get that from someone from transportation?
You want me to call management?
Not right now.
I don't know.
No.
I mean, can they do that? And will we know if May 20th
Well,
is a
I think the
problem?
motion will clarify what you need to be asked, because they will go forward and do it. But as
They'll
of-
have,
as
like,
of
we'll have
this
like a
point,
transportation study on what would happen,
if they were to be able to take them or not.
right? And we get that information prior to them having to make planning?
Yeah, because we have another board meeting. So
But it's
it would
closed.
it would be approved pending the resolution of transportation.
Hold on, hold on. Can we have Mr. Pesqueira?
I just want clarification, Mrs. Duarte. Are you saying they did not even request
They
transportation?
have not requested. Mr. Duarte has said that he checked today, and they have not requested the transportation.
Okay, I'll talk to Mrs. Cesenia, the coordinator, and see how we can, and that's not going to be through the district. It's going to have to be through a charter then, or,
And if it's a charter, there's no problem with that.
Exactly.
The only thing is that we're risking,
Not having.
Affecting services
there,
to our
Yes.
we
students.
do have,
absolutely, I understand.
we do have an issue with attendance on Mondays as bus drivers in the transportation. So they're always trying to do, so for sure, we're going to have one out.
Yes, the one that they're requesting. Okay.
So,
Just
but
trying to
if
prevent
they-
the problem
if they
before it
will-
happens.
I'll check with her tomorrow, make sure we work on that and get back to you, Mrs. Donaldson, on that. Okay?
Okay, so we,
So the motion that you had stipulated would,
I made the
cover.
motion to.
Mr. Kim had made the
Oh.
motion to approve pending resolution of transportation issues,
Yes.
correct, Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item G5. Approve the 2012-2013 single plan for student achievement for Calexico High School, Aurora Continuation High School, Enrique Camarena Junior High School, Willie Morena Junior High School, Jefferson, Jewel, Kennedy Gardens, Rockwood, Blanche Charles, and Cesar Chavez Elementary Schools.
First of all, I believe I don't have a backup documents on those G5.
They were
I did.
emailed to us.
They were sent to all of us electronically, Mr. Kim. It's a huge amount of paperwork.
That's right,
I
yes.
think I didn't have it, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all got, I saw your name there. It was sent to you. If you didn't open it up, that's a different story. But we all got it sent
When
to
was
us.
that happened?
It was sent today.
Today?
No.
This one?
No.
It's not the,
No,
that's
that,
the, okay, I have
she
this.
sent it several days ago. And
Oh,
in
yes,
fact,
yes,
she
2
sent it
days ago.
separately because it was such a huge amount of
Yesterday.
information.
You sent like 3 or 4 different ones.
That's
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were all sent yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yes, but, yes.
But when the agenda was posted, they were posted on the website. So
Yes.
they, get to them that way.
And the agenda was sent to us electronically as well on Wednesday.
You sent it too. You sent it,
I
right?
sent it also.
Yes, you sent it because I have it right here.
Yeah.
She sent it. Yeah, to everybody.
I think
Well, to
they
all of
sent
us.
to my, they don't send my Kim for school board. I believe they sent to the official only.
Yeah.
So that's I
They've
didn't get
got
it.
2 emails for you, Mr. Kim.
Beg your pardon?
They've got 2 external emails for you, Mr. Kim.
Oh, I sent
You send it to
Yeah.
Calexico.K12 and to Kim for School Board.
Yep.
I don't have it. 21st.
At 8:06 a.m.
What day was?
Yesterday.
yesterday.
Yesterday. Supposed to be 22nd. No, I don't have any.
Monday?
It was sent.
What?
Mr. Kim, do you have questions
I only
regarding
have
the
a
item?
pre-list, update the pre-list only,
Yesterday? What's yesterday?
but not on the,
22nd.
not on the orders backup.
Do you have questions, Mr. Kim?
Well, I can. I can. That was my questions. I don't have any backup.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Motion by Calderon. Is there a second? Second. Second by Zuno Vizcarra. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Ms. Duarte?
I'll abstain because I did not read it.
Okay. 3 ayes,
Too many
1 no,
pages.
1 abstention. Moving on to item,
I just want to ask, because I do have a principal who's asking about her school not being listed there. Is that a typo or?
That's a typo. The main document is included in the attachment, and it was submitted on time. But it was not listed on the agenda.
Yes, it's in here.
So if we could amend that to all elementary schools? Or if you could
Okay.
amend it to add Mings to the list?
will you accept the amendment? Mr. Calderon?
Yes.
Ms. Zuno?
Yes.
Same votes, people? Vote the same way?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so it's as amended, 3 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention. I'm going to stop myself and go back. I think I forgot to go to item 4K. I jumped that. Didn't I?
Yes, you did 4K.
Okay.
4K.
Okay.
4K.
Okay.
Let me get some
There's no
water.
K.
Hold on a second.
I don't think Mr. Kim was here when we did the 4K. the
Yeah, he
addition.
wasn't here.
No.
So if we can,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
FFA?
Yeah.
Another late one.
But nobody pulled it? Nobody pulled it. We just need to approve.
oh, nobody,
Oh, nobody-
okay, well, it
nobody
was
pulled
approved,
it.
nobody pulled it, so, okay, never mind. But give it to him so he has the
Give it to him so
information.
he has the information.
Okay, all right. Okay, item 6, Mr. Kim. correct?
Yes.
Okay, you had questions?
Yeah, but why this one has to be information? This we only they are making a trip out of the town. Well, the other one we say have to approve it. Why they put in this on informations?
Ms. Ambriz, can you please respond?
A,
Yeah.
B, C, D, all those.
These, the informational items are for trips that are paid for through other funds such as external agencies, you know,
IBC.
IVC, ROP. They're not really our funds, but somebody else is paying for them. But we just want the board to be aware that our students are leaving the county. You know, they're going on trips and they're leaving the county, so we want you to be aware. And then Enrique Camarena, it's a trip that was, I guess, fundraised through their, it's on a Saturday primarily, and it's fundraised through their booster, if I'm not mistaken. But that's really where it's at.
Yeah, but I think so. Unless we still providing to our students to school activities at trip, the board still have to be approved that. I think so we need to have the legal.
We are approving it.
Yeah, but the information is a whole different story. If information only is not approving.
It's up for approval as consent.
Is it up for approval or not, Ms. Ambriz?
No, it's
It's
informational.
informational only.
It's informational only.
Okay.
Yeah, but we still, our students and under the school activities, we let them go.
They're going under other programs, Mr. Kim. Not-
And
not
if
district.
if the board wishes to clarify this issue, because frankly, with over the past few months, we received direction whether to put them in consent agenda, to not put them in consent agenda. So if you give a clear direction that you want everything to be voted on and clear in consent agenda, we will gladly put them there. You know, sometimes we put things on here and the question begs, well, you know, we're not paying for it as a district, so therefore, you know, just let us know that
gonna
people are,
happen.
that it's going to happen. So if you let us know which way you want to go on it, we'll gladly oblige the direction of the
Did we
board.
give direction?
But this one is not a consent agenda or not. This issues is the information only. That means we don't have to prove it. That I believe that as long as we, our students, as our school district acknowledge on those, that we supposed to be to say prove it or
Yes,
not.
because they will sign a, for example, let's take 6A. These students will be touring UC Riverside. They'll be signing, their parents will be signing parent permission slips that states, you know, the,
Whatever
you know,
program.
Release of-
from the UC Riverside and through whoever's sponsoring the trip. So, but the parents know that we're allowing their students to get on a bus, and they're assuming that we are responsible for the kids because they're going through a district, you know, because of their district affiliation or their affiliation with the district. Therefore, we've approved it because it's a viable trip for them. It's educational, it's paid for, and we do have our liability that goes with it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Then we have to prove it then.
Then let's approve it. Take it out of informational and we can make it a consent item.
I think so we have a lawyer here. Maybe we can ask about the clarification.
Well, you should have begun there. Mr. Weiler?
The clarification you want is that it should be approved rather than informational.
Yes.
Where would the liability fall in?
Yes.
If we did not approve the trip and we just said, okay, Upward Bound, they're your kids for today, where does our liability fall on if we don't approve that?
I'm actually not sure off the top of my head on these transportation issues.
Because I would assume that these kids will not set grounds, well, they will set grounds on our school site to go to wherever, right?
This is where they're.
Or will the parents be taking them from here
No, they're being picked up at the school.
at the school site? So they do touch ground at our high school. They do leave from our high school.
Let me see if I can find something in the education code. There's special statutes about transportation and liability.
We'll take a 5-minute recess. Is that'll give you enough time? 10 minute?
Well, I mean, I think it would be interesting to see what their permission slip says, if they are in charge of the students, or they are.
There is a statute that I think provides for permission slips and waiver of liability. And are the students signing those, or the parents?
And that's what I said, the
Yes,
waiver of
correct.
liability.
There's a hold harmless section on each parent permission slip, if I'm not
It would
mistaken.
it would actually be one of those upper bounds or educational talent search waivers that IVC will give us, or will have the kids sign.
If the students have signed the waiver, then the liability issue is resolved as much as it can be.
Well, that was 7 years ago when I was there.
Still the same.
You're dating
Well, we can-
yourself,
we-
Mr. Calderon.
We can ask.
I'm going on my 30th.
So
7 years ago.
I was working, not as a student.
Oh.
So we need to, Maria, can you call tomorrow?
Yes, we'll look at the
Yes.
parent permission slip.
Okay, exactly.
Okay. Mr. Pesquera? Thank you.
So should we approve it, or should we just inform, acknowledge it?
I believe that honestly, that if the parents are signing the waiver of liability, hold harmless statement, then we should accept it as an informational item at this time.
These outreach programs that we have at the high school, and this is a yearly, annual thing that they do. They do the tutorials with the kids, they're in contact with parents, and then as a culminating activity at the end of the year, they take an educational trip by visiting a university. They pay everything, and they do have their liability permission slip that the kids do sign at home. We've seen a copy of it, but I can request a copy and make sure I'll bring it to Ms. Solis.
I like to put these on as informational items, Mr. Kim and the balance of the board, for a specific purpose. A few specific purposes. One, so that you know that our kids are accessing universities, they're accessing opportunities of extended learning beyond the Imperial Valley limits. That's the first one. And the second one is that should the bus that they're on get a flat tire, God forbid, be involved in some kind of accident, and then you start receiving phone calls, well, my kid was on this trip, what do you know, Mr. Kim, about this accident? At least you're aware that that you're going to say, well, what trip? By you knowing that these kids are taking this trip, at least you being made aware that this trip is occurring, you at least know, oh, you know what, there are 30 or 40 or 50 students from Calexico High School on an educational field trip through Upward Bound, or through MESA, or through whatever the organization happens to be at any given time.
Ms. Ambriz, so we need to change the language on this, for example, on item G6C, it says it's an informational only, but it says recommendation that the Board of Education allow. So it's only informational, but it's asking us to allow this. So we need to change the wording then.
On 4C.
On G6C.
6C, I'm sorry.
Yes.
6C, absolutely.
So we need to change
And
the...
I think the issue with there is, it's a Saturday trip, but absolutely, you're
Okay,
correct.
because they're asking it to allow. So Mr. Pesqueira, once again, you've seen those permission slips? Okay. And you collect a copy and...
I will provide a copy.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
They better approve it.
All right.
Más vale que sí. I'm going to Knott's.
In the final summary, are we approving or are we not?
You're going to Knott's? Oh, well, we have a board member on board.
I'm driving the bus too.
Are we approving, board members?
Well,
When I'll take the step of saying, let's pull it out from informational only. Mr. Kim, will you make a motion to approve items 6A through D for approval?
I make the motion to approve it.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Second by Mr. Calderon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hold on. Item D is the LEA date needs assessment plan.
And that's the presentation
The presentation we had earlier.
gave us at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Duarte? Motion passes 5-0. I'd like a break. Give me 3 minutes.
Yes, I've seen those.
We'll reconvene at 9:17.
I can feel it with us, sir.
Going on to item H, superintendent recommends approval of each of the following items. H1, approve going out to bid for IID second phase dash LEAP grant. Ms. Amariz? Mr. Martinez, can you come to the podium?
Good evening, Board. Raul Martinez. Yes, the IID has gone with a second phase in regards to the LEAP program. Last year, we were able, or the first phase, we were able to change 52 units and did extensive lighting throughout the school sites. On this phase, the IID had a meeting and they opened it up to all the districts here in the valley for second phase. Last year, the IID district had 1.4 million that they distributed through all the school sites that competed for these funds, for these grants. This year, we're doing it a little different from what we did last year. Last year, what we did is the first phase, it's in the same year. The first phase, we actually just went out and got estimates. Off those estimates, that's how we came to the conclusion as far as the pricing and the units we needed and so forth. Last year, the difference was from last year to this year, it wasn't as competitive throughout the districts because the IID started this grant really late in the year, so a lot of districts did not participate. And that first phase, they had 1.4 million to be distributed. This year, they have 1.5 million, just $100,000 more. However, it's going to be a lot more competitive. We have Olga, we have Mission School, we have Vincent Memorial, we have St. Mary's, all these other private schools that are now competing to get this funding. It's $35,000 per school site. So one of the information I got from the IID this year was that they want us to come back with more accurate numbers in regards to the monies that we're going to be seeking. So so saying that, what we had to do this year, we actually have to do it a little different from last year and go out for the bids and get the actual numbers that we're going to be seeking from the IID. The risk if we were to do it like last year and just get estimates and be off by a lot in regards to those numbers, then we run the risk of losing everything because by the time we submit this, we're going to have to resubmit with accurate numbers. So what we're asking the board here is to approve going out to bid contingent that we get the funding from the IID to proceed. At this point, it's only going out to bid. When the time comes, then we'll come back and decide whether we're going to award bids or not. But it's important because of the timetable that we have right now. We have to have everything into the IID for this grant by May 14th, I'm sorry. So it's important, our timetable is really, or the window's small, so that's why we elected to come to the board and go out to bid. It's, again, different from what we've done in the past. We're not sure we're getting the funding yet, but it's contingent, this bid would be contingent in regards to getting the funding from the IID, and we would know on May 14th or so.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martinez, is there questions? Starting with Mr. Kim?
Well, I think I fully understood about the situation. They don't have much time, so we need to have what understanding is we need to have the bidding process first on the pending of the condition of the if we approve the grant, they're going to be awarded their bidding.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Calderon, any questions? Ms. Duarte?
These are the only items that are going to go out to bid, right?
That is correct. That is correct. The 58 units that we have that we're going to go out, and they've been selected by Mr. Duarte in regards to the priority level or age of the units or the more problematic type of units that we have.
And wouldn't we have to go with the lowest bid? Because it says here that the district reserves the right to accept or deny the lowest bidder. Wouldn't we have to accept the lowest bid if it's...
That is correct. And the reason for that wording is, in the event that the IID does not give us that funding, we reserve the right to say, you know, we're not going to do anything to, that we're going to say no to the lowest bid in that event. It's contingent on the funding.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, because, I mean, if you don't have the money, you're going to tell them no.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ms. Zuno Vizcarra, any questions?
No.
I have no questions, so if we have no further questions,
Make the motion to
move to the
approve.
vote. And I got a motion from Mr. Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Duarte. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. H2, approve the Education Protection Account Resolution to establish spending determinations. Mrs. Ambriz.
Yes, this item is, this education protection account is basically the state taking approximately $9 million off the top of our allocation next year and putting it in a savings account for us to allocate it to us or disperse it to us next June or the following June.
They do that?
Yeah, so that's their way of helping us save, you know, and this statewide.
Taking our money and telling us, we're going to put it in this account for you.
To make interest
At the
for
end,
the state?
you know, by June, yes.
Okay.
And this is what they're doing throughout the state, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And
So we won't see it?
not till June. And we hope
We
to
won't
see
see
it.
it.
Well,
Will we see the interest?
we will not.
We will not see the interest, no.
We will not see the money either.
We better see the money. Our channel's only $4 million. So
Is this a usual thing that the state does, or is this the first time?
This is their new.
It's brand new this year, and it will continue on moving forward in school business. It's brand new.
So it's to take it from Paul to give it to Peter.
That is correct.
it's a shell game.
That is correct.
Thank you. Is it, and we have no choice but to approve?
Absolutely. Or they really won't give it to us because it comes in a separate resource. So that's why it's important for this resolution to be passed.
Okay. With my back twisted behind my, is there a motion to approve?
So move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Calderon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Duarte. Is there any further discussion? No.
Yes, my question is, we're gonna set the money, what's supposed to be gonna have it?
Basically, Mr. Kim, they're telling us we're taking this off and we're setting it aside for you, but you're not going to touch it till June. And you're not going to have the interest, and you don't have any option. Basically, in a nutshell. Do I have it right?
But
And it's demonstrated on the cash flow, how it's the revenue limit funding. So if we are to receive, let's just call it $49 million in revenue limit. Well, typically, on a month-to-month basis, we receive 9% of $49 million. But what the state has done is they've broken up the $49 million. So there's $40 million and there's $9 million. We only receive 9% of $40 million, and from July, August, September, moving
Till
forward.
June.
And then in June, we're supposed to get the 9 million. But we receive no bits and pieces of that throughout the year, which is one of the reasons why we come up short in May and the necessity for a TRAN for this year, because we're receiving 9% of $9 million less every month, which that's a large chunk of money to the district.
But yet, when we pay it back, we do pay the interest.
We're not going to pay it back. When they give it to us, we don't get the interest. We just get the $9 million that they've been holding on.
But when we got the TRAN, we have to pay.
We're going to pay
on
the
that,
interest,
so-
absolutely. We are, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And all the fees associated
So
with it.
it's 9 million plus.
Plus whatever it costs us to get a TRAN, yes. Yes.
One set of
So
rules for us.
we
one set of
approving
rules
this one tonight for that portion, so we're gonna settle our account.
So that we can receive the cash
In
to
June.
the district in June, yes.
They're going to save it for us.
Yeah.
They're so nice.
They're holding it somewhere,
They're nice.
supposedly.
Mr. Weiler?
A couple years ago, as a parent, I had the pleasure of speaking with a California assemblyman who was probably overly candid with me about this situation, about why does the state withhold monies from the school districts. And the candid answer at that time was that the state is concerned at times about being able to pay their bonds. And if they don't have the cash to pay their bonds, then the whole
card game falls down.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and you use my says yes. Basically, the whole house of cards falls down, and one of the biggest sources of grabbing money is from school districts.
So,
but as your staff has said, you don't really have a choice.
yeah. So we've had a motion and a second and had discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote. Aye. Mr. Aguilar, aye. Mr. Calderon?
Aye.
Ms. Duarte?
I'm still reading. Aye.
Mr. Kim?
Hi.
Ms. Vizcarra?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Item H3, declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2013-14 school year. Ms. Ambris?
In order... Excuse me? I'm sorry. We are required to declare to the State Commission for Teacher Credentialing that we need fully qualified teachers, and specifically for CLAD and BCLAD purposes. Right now, we are estimating that we would need at least 5 more CLAD certificates and BCLAD certificates each for our next school year. And so, in order to meet the requirements of law, we need to at least declare to the state that that is our need. You know, we make every attempt to, when we do recruit, et cetera, we make every attempt to make sure that our teachers, our potential teachers, have these certificates, and we encourage our current teaching staff to secure the certificate, the BCLAD and or CLAD, the CLAD and or BCLAD certificate for their own assignments. And some teachers are on these permits, and they do the coursework and or necessary trainings to secure these certificates. But we do need to state that, what our potential need will be.
So are we asking for 5 additional? Or are we just for filling in teachers, or
That we,
No, based on our need in our district, what we need is to declare how many that we potentially feel that we need. So given on our English learner population, et cetera, how many teachers do we need versus how many we actually have with the appropriate credentials.
so
And
you're saying we have
so
5 that
therefore,
are not, that are on an
we have
emergency
at
basis?
least 5 in each for CLAD and for BCLAD.
How far away are they from Well, I'm sorry.
I would,
No,
I would,
that's
I
a
would
good
have
question.
to look, you know,
Yeah.
at the individuals.
Yeah, that
Some
would
may
be
a
good
few-
to, because I recall there being times where there was years and years and years.
Mhm.
And so,
I think when they started scrambling, when the No Child Left Behind came about, and they all had to be qualified,
Absolutely.
and I mean, I understand that we hire fairly new teachers, you know, coming out of college or whatnot. They still need a couple of more years or maybe more courses to finish and get their certificate.
Yeah, most of the teachers, for example, that most of the students that come out of San Diego State and Puro Valley campus, for example, and even main campus, when they graduate, most of them have the emphasis in the CLAD, because that's part of their teacher preparation program. And that's why the need is not as great there, but where it becomes greater, obviously, is when they start needing the B-CLAD certificate. When you're teaching in the primary language, which here is primarily Spanish, they do need to have the B-CLAD component. And so, like I said, most of the teacher prep programs locally do embed the CLAD certificate in their credential, but occasionally you do have the employee that doesn't have it. And I know that in recent years, recent hires were, HR was looking for them having the CLAD already, you know, but again, you know, with our
So
population.
what we're doing is extending so that if we were to
need somebody
we have the clearance or
that we
the
would,
ability to
yes.
hire at least 5. Okay.
any questions by any other board member? I have a question in terms of, this says your agency established a district intern program. And then, so didn't we at one point have it? A district intern program?
You know, I would have to research that, Ms. Aguilar. I would not want to give you a false
can.
answer.
All right, thank you. See no further question, I call for a motion for declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2013-14 school year.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Calderon, is there a second? I'll second. Second by Aguilar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Board members' closing comments, starting on my left with Mr. Kim. 3-minute limitation.
Before I do, I think I need to have the Elliot, what's it called, the leadership, whatever, I didn't receive the electronic copy. And would you send me again to Kim for school board? LEA plan? LEA plan, I didn't receive my email. So would you send me again, and in case if you can provide a hard copy too? And the other one is, I heard the Mr. Calderon accusing me I tried to bribe Mr. Calderon. Is that true?
It's not an opportunity to discuss, gentlemen. So, Mr.
well,
Kim,
Mr. Because I need to clarify the
Gentlemen,
situation.
Gentlemen, Mr. Kim, if you want to have a discussion with Mr. Calderon, you can do it outside of this boardroom. Right now, it's for you to make your closing comments, not to dialogue. So make
Well-
your statements, and if you want to talk with him outside of the board.
Oh, I want to have a publicly,
No,
I've been heard the publicly
it's not what you want, Mr. Kim. It's about you making your closing comments, not for a dialogue or a debate. So, please proceed.
Okay, I don't have anything to bribe Mr. Cyril Calderon. Whatever he said he had evidence, and that I believe defamation of the elected person. And the other one is, I'm sad to see our school district money and the time and energies engaging political fight with the fellow board member because they don't like it the way they do it. And we supposed to focusing our education for our children. We're supposed not spend money for the lawyer to do so. The school district, they sue me. They're gonna sue me. They were asking. They hired a lawyer. They were asking to get the permit to sue me and spend a lawyer for that. And they're gonna spend the lawyer to sue me in the money supposed to spend our children, and not for the lawyer. On the sanction of the civil procedure, Sanction 803, an action may be brought by Attorney General in the name of the people of this state, upon his own information or upon a complaint of a private party against any person
Your
who
time is up, Mr. Kim.
usurp,
Your time
intrudes
is up.
into.
Your time is
So,
up. Mr.
school
Kim,
district doesn't have to do
Your time is
anything.
up. Mr.
And
Calderon?
they do that.
Mr. Calderon?
You interrupting me to
No,
my
I'm not. Your time is up, Mr. Kim. Sorry. Mr. Calderon?
Well, what can I say? Anyways, I want to focus on the positive and not in the negative. Like I've said before, there are some forces at will that are trying to, for whatever reason, bring us down, bring the district down, bring city council down, the city of Calexico down. And I think when I got elected, my message was that I wanted to change that around by whatever means. So I want to concentrate on the positive. Okay, we're moving forward. We're moving we have to change with the times. Okay, we have Common Core coming up. We have local control coming up, which is may place, even though it may give us more resources, it's also going to place more responsibilities on our district and on my. So, because she's gonna have to guard the money as if it was hers. So, but let's concentrate on the positive. Okay, we have those, as I said it before, those enemies of Calexico that just like to make noise simply because they don't have anything else to do. But let's put those things aside and move forward. Concentrate on the positive. We have a lot of positive things in Calexico Unified right now, and I want to keep moving that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Duarte?
I'd like to address I know that we had a retreat, and I was not there, but I know that the majority of the conversation of the retreat was the Brown Act and the rules of order, Robert Rules of Order. I don't know if they do exist in this district or they don't, because we've gone back and forth on some of the items on the agenda. But anyways, on August 12th, we did have a retreat. We did put goals and objectives. We did approve them, although it was the past board. On September 13th, the minutes are on there, and so are the goals and objectives. I would like to recommend that they get printed out and sent to the board, and so we can start looking at them and start getting our goals in place. If the new board members don't like any of them, then let's get some recommendations to change them. The year is almost over, and we're still in the same boat. now that we have the report that we got today, we can focus on some of the recommendations and some of the findings and work on that. But in closed session today, we have the evaluation of the superintendent, but yet there's no goals and objectives, and we're going to be told there's no direction. So we still don't have any direction and no thoughts or recommendations of this board. Time is passing by, and I did request, the posting of superintendent's position, and it was turned down, but yet the contract does expire June 30th, with the exception that if it's a good evaluation, it gets extended 1 year. Well, how can we do an evaluation if we don't have any goals and directives to the superintendent? So I would like to start moving in that direction. Ms. Ambriz needs direction as to where we want to go, and the board needs to decide where we're going to take this district. But there is some established rules that we've never seen back. I don't know if because we're all too busy doing something else, but there was a lot of tabled items in the past that have not come back, and they need to come back because they're part of the of moving forward. And if I may recommend to staff that to look into those tabled items and see if we can bring some of those back.
Your time is up, Mrs. Duarte. I'm sorry.
And we're going to need to talk about the 3 minutes because we're going to need to have healthy dialogue between board members. Some things can't wait till board meetings.
Thank you. Ms. Zuno Vizcarra?
Thank you. Mine will just probably be a lot shorter because really just want to point out that with the pivot report that we got along the lines then of us putting together a plan that works for the district, that works for our students, and that works towards the direction of Common Core and where we're headed, and with the local control funding formula and all the things that are going to change. I think it's then just that crucial time, which I think reiterates what some of my fellow board members have said right now, that it's a great time for us to look at our vision, the direction, and the objectives. We definitely are a new composition of a board, so there are definitely different ideas. Some of them might go along the same lines. We did receive at the retreat that we went to a couple weeks ago, we did receive a copy of those goals and objectives, and we were asked to take those back and read them and study them and come back with, what do we like, what do we not like, and what do we bring to the table or what would I bring to the table as a board member in terms of what direction I'd like to see as a stakeholder in this community, in this district, as a parent of 3 children in this district, as a community member in this district. I feel I can definitely bring ideas and suggestions and goals and objectives to move this district forward. So that's definitely something that I take very seriously and look forward to working with the rest of the team here to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zuno Vizcarra. I'm not going to elaborate much longer, but as you can see, Ms. Zuno Vizcarra elaborated in terms of goals and objectives. I think that it's important that we continue to have, if not monthly, bi-monthly board trainings or retreats where we discuss these things and offer that opportunity to have that dialogue without time limitations. Unfortunately, the board meetings are for board meetings to take care of board business, but for in terms of dialogue, then we need to maybe make time to have that dialogue amongst ourselves without it being so restricted. And I agree with you, we need to have that. In terms of I saw in the superintendent's report that there is a online agenda training that has been scheduled for May 16th for board members. I will not be in attendance because we have commencement, so I won't be able to attend that. So if there's an opportunity for me to train separately at on another date, I'd appreciate that. Here you go. And I think that we are making progress. I think we're starting to work together as a board, and regardless of what situations face ourselves, our primary, I think, objective is to move the district forward, and I think we're doing that. Our students and our staff and our faculty and administration are making great strides. Do we have room for improvement? Always, always. And I expect and I hope that that's always in the forefront of our mind. And so I'll end it right there. Go on to item J, announcement of convening into closed session regarding of items referenced below for closed session. Mr. Weiler?
Madam President, may we take a 2-minute break to discuss something before that announcement? Mr. Kim raised an issue that I need to inquire about with you and the superintendent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, before we do go into closed session and after that, we may need to take the vote to extend our meeting, given
Correct.
that we're close to the
Yes.
time.
We'll take a 5-minute recess.
Madam President? Madam President? We'll have Ms. Martinez take notes
Thank you.
so we can expedite this.
Okay, welcome, reconvene. Mr. Weiler or Ms. Ambriz, whoever.
Mr. Weiler will. Oh, we're going to take the vote on extending the meeting.
Okay, do I have a motion to extend the meeting for 1 hour? Motion by Ms. Duarte, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Calderon.
Kim.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kim? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We'll remind board members that we said 1 hour only was stipulated. All right. 11 o'clock will be, look it up, we'll continue. All right. Announcement of convening into closed session regarding of items referenced below for closed session.
The board will now go into closed session to discuss the items listed in Section K. In addition, the Brown Act within Section 54-956.9, Subdivision G, starts off, prior to holding a closed session pursuant to this section, which involves litigation, the legislative body of a local agency shall state on the agenda or publicly announce the paragraph of Subdivision D that authorizes the closed session. There is a paragraph in Subdivision D which I now publicly announce. It's in 54-956.9, Subdivision D, subsection 4, which states that the closed session can be held based on existing facts and circumstances. The legislative body of the local agency has decided to initiate or is deciding whether to initiate litigation. That will be another item which I now publicly announce.
Thank you.
And we will return after the closed session for further action.
Thank you. We'll now go into closed.